So last but not least, within our traditional data sets, we have something that is specific to the community.riskiq.com platform, and that is projects. And so projects provide the analysts with a workflow capability for them to be able to track the investigation that they're doing and all the artifacts that are associated with it. And what's nice about projects of themselves is that they're going to have a name, a description, they might have tags, and you can actually go through and add collaborators as well. So these projects don't have to necessarily be something you're working on, but it could be something that's shared within your organization or even peers in the industry like we spoke about before.
So there's an aspect of a public project that everyone can see,
Yep.
and it's freely open to everybody to look at. And then there's a private project, which is just for you or your organization or the team of people that you've associated with it.
Yeah, and that's correct. And throughout the platform itself, as you're pivoting around on all the different indicators and the data sets that we were discussing, as you hover over particular pieces of information that is valid and can be added to a project, you'll notice a small folder icon where you can click that and you can either add that artifact to an existing project or you can create a new project directly from your search results. And what's great about this is that projects, we've had them in the platform for a long period of time, and we have people that are producing public projects freely for the community. Mm-hmm. And what's nice about this is as I'm pivoting around the platform, much like the open source intelligence tab, where information is freely given to me, that helps me tell the narrative of maybe what I'm looking at, the the projects tab can do the same thing. If I'm looking at a piece of infrastructure that's unknown to me and I see that there's public projects associated with it, maybe when someone else has done all of the heavy lifting to do the investigation, they've procured all of the indicators of compromise into a project, and maybe they've even gone as far as putting a description with a link out to their research. So projects are a great way to really collaborate amongst your peers, keep yourself organized, but it can also be a great way, again, to short circuit what would typically be a pretty long investigation and really get you up to speed on what you're looking at.
So it's like a constant monitor for open source intelligence to see what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also a great way to retain the institutional knowledge from your organization. I don't know how many times when I was conducting an investigation that, it would be infrastructure that I had seen 6 months ago, mm-hmm. but I couldn't remember, who the threat actor was or how it changed or what their tactics were.
And another nice thing about the project is there's a history involved with it. So if there's a new member that comes on the team or you invite a new analyst to view the project, they can look at that history and get up to speed to see how each indicator was found and when it was added to the project and by whom.
Yeah, that's I think one of my favorite elements, that not only is the project feature itself integrated directly into performing an investigation, mm-hmm. but all of that little bit of contextual metadata about what you were looking at, the time, who looked at it, and when it was added, all becomes extremely important, especially if you're not able to communicate with your peers all the time and hand off that investigation. And so projects almost become self-documenting. Using those, you can share that information out. Even if you keep it private, it's just having all that institutional knowledge in one spot.
So it's a good way for the junior analyst to even go up to speed. We have feature projects within community.riskiq.com, which somebody can go look at a project that we've looked at and said, hey, this is really good, people should be aware of it, to go through that history and see how that progressed and what's happening with those investigations. Again,
that's another great point. We talked about before, the difference between a junior analyst and a seasoned analyst and recognizing patterns, what's bad, what's good. Looking at the feature projects that we have, there's a whole bunch of them that are essentially burning malicious actors in their infrastructure. Mm-hmm. And so if you're new to performing an analysis or you want to apply these methodologies on your own, the projects tab is a great place to start, mm-hmm. Because you can go and look at all the featured ones. You can start pivoting around using all the information that we've already worked up or someone else, our partner, has worked up. And you can begin to recognize those patterns for yourself.
You can even take that first initial indicator and do those searches yourself and see how it progressed and what they did. So then you can look to see exactly what the analyst did.
Yeah, you can retrace their steps.
Mm-hmm.